Hello and welcome to Farmer's Kitchen. Do you know what?
What?
We're outside.
It's nice, isn't it? Finally.
We've been wanting to cook outside for the longest time. When it's not raining in Kentucky, and it seems like it has for the last 27 years, we come outside, we like to cook. When you haven't been outside for a while, it's time to clean up around the yard, do some things around the farm. So today we're going to cook something that's going to cook for a while. We've got two recipes that are absolutely wonderful. We've got a full dish recipe. It's going to take care of all of our cravings today. We got our carbs, we got our veggies, we got our meats, we got everything. And you're going to make a dessert. That's right. That's absolutely wonderful. Today I want you to think of two things. I want you to think of, we're going to discuss bacon and meats. We just smoked sausage. We're going to make some bacon, some 3-day bacon. But one thing I want you to think about, when we say Dutch oven, really think of that as an oven. Right. Ms. Farmer, you're getting smoke in your oven.
I am. I'm going to cry. I'm so happy.
But you know what? A Dutch oven is an oven. So think about it as such. When we set it over here and we attain 325 degrees, 350 degrees, if you had a pie in a pie dish, set that in that oven.
Good idea.
When you're camping, when you're outdoors, when you want to cook outside, we know how to attain temperature. There are charts out there. When you're outside and you want to cook something, how would we do that, Ms. Farmer? We just
Good idea.
set the dish in there.
That's right.
This leads to all sorts of things. So you're camping and you have the pie filling. Maybe you've frozen it.
Good idea.
Whether it's apple, whether it's pecan, whatever. You take that with you when you're camping. You have your pie dish ready to go. You put your filling in it, put it in your 350, 325 degree oven.
Should be good.
Remember, wherever you are in the kitchen, outdoors, on the face of the moon, 350 degrees is 350
face of the moon,
degrees. I haven't been there, but I heard about a guy who went. All right, I think I've talked enough about where we're going today. Now here's what we're going to do. Later today, we're going to talk about bacon. Recently, we made our own sausages. Now,
those smell so good, by the way. They smell the smoky.
Then we smoked them.
I can tell.
In our smokehouse. Now I'm going to take some sausage today that we got from somewhere else and some bacon, and I'm going to make us a hearty gumbo over rice.
Yum.
Now here's how I'm going to start that. I'm going to go ahead and get our pan over here and get it nice and hot. Then I'm going to take some bacon and I'm going to take some sausage and I'm just going to let that cook up. I'm going to take the grease and use some of that to saute the vegetables that come next. But first of all, let's get the bacon and the sausage started. Now I've got chicken going here in the background. That's for the recipe here in a little while. That's how we make our stock. If you want some really good looking stock later, you can strain this off, put it in the fridge and save it for a good while. But tonight, not only are we going to use the chicken, in this case, thighs and legs, which we like the best. And this stock is going to be used in the recipe as well as the chicken itself. So we're going to take about 4 or 5 pieces of bacon and just turn those over till they get nice and brown. And they're going to cook in this later as well. All right, so next, after we've set our meat aside.
I snuck some, it's really good.
What?
Yeah, Kelly stole one too.
What? Y'all out of control.
I know.
Now, do you remember a few years ago we went to French Quarter? And we had a friend down there who cooked us some jambalaya and some gumbo, so on and so forth. It's absolutely wonderful. One of the things you got to keep in mind, you got to do a roux. We're going to do a roux here in a little while. But the first thing we need to do is take our trinity, our celery, onions, and peppers.
I'm working on it.
And we're going to take, I don't know, 2 stalks we got here. Then we're going to cut some onions up, 2 small onions, and I don't know, a pepper and a half. And we're going to saute that. Now I poured some of that grease out in our existing grease. So I'm going to saute these, let them release their flavors. Meanwhile, the chicken is bubbling in the background. Now that's been cooking for several hours today. Cook that with the skin and the bone in. At this point, I'm going to ask Nikki to give me a little bit of garlic and put in here. She's going to press some garlic right in here. Now, a lot of recipes can start like this. You get that base flavor. One little garlic in here, obviously. Now, we're to the point where these sauteed vegetables are looking really good. At the last minute, I'm going to pop in some okra. I'm just going to lightly turn it over. All right, let's take just a little bit of this chicken stock. Not much, but just, I don't know, half a cup. All right, at this point, We're gonna come back with a quart of our tomatoes. Remember we canned our tomatoes this past year? That's mighty handy right now. Oh wait, you can't use tomatoes in cast iron. Oh, yes you can. Now we're gonna come back with our dry ingredients. I'm gonna take some homemade Cajun seasoning that I made, and I'm gonna dash it out. And there's plenty of store-bought Cajun stuff out there. This has got some cayenne, a little paprika, some garlic. I'm gonna take some basil. You know I like basil, and it works well in here. I'm gonna put a little bit of thyme and just a few red pepper flakes because this is gonna have some heat in it. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Remember, our meats, our bacon and our sausage are gonna have salt in them. That's gonna release into that. We're gonna take some green chilies, and I'm gonna put, I don't know, I'm gonna put about half of that in there. That's probably about 3 ounces. I'm gonna let that cook just a little while because Nikki doesn't like her stuff real hot. I'm gonna see where that takes us. Now we've taken about a half a pound of sausage and about 4 pieces of bacon. Take a gander at that. I'm gonna leave the top open so I can keep an eye on it. I'm gonna let it cook down. I'm gonna let it boil, slow simmer for about an hour.
Well, it's just falling apart. It's perfect.
Nikki's pulling the chicken out. Just give me little bite-sized pieces in here.
Pretty hot.
All right, we're gonna start adding our chicken as we get it. All right, I'm gonna start my roux. When we visited Louisiana a few years ago, I wanted to talk to a chef who really knew what he was doing down there. And his formula for a roux, and I'm just adding this flour just to show you what we've got here. I've got 1/3 of a cup of oil and 1/2 cup of flour. I have just put this in here and I have stirred this. And the longer you do this, the darker it gets. If you want a really dark roux and you like that almost burnt flavor, you keep lowering the temperature and you just keep on cooking it. I am about where I want to be. This is a wonderful thickening agent and the flavor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add my chicken stock to that. See how that's thickening up right there? Now I'm going to take my roux, pour off in there, and oh my, what have we got going on? Now there's the consistency you think about right there. The last thing we're going to do is take some fresh uncooked shrimp, and we're just going to lightly cook them until they're nice and pink and done, and then we have us something else. Now I'm going to cover this just for a minute, let that get all acquainted, and we're about ready to have dinner. Let's see where we're at here. Oh my, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look at that.
Yum.
Is it not beautiful?
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay, if you hold that over a little bit further. All right, now I could have made this a lot hotter. You could put more red pepper flakes, you could put more chilies, you could put hotter peppers, but I know that you like a little bit of heat, but not a lot.
Yeah, you like it hotter than I do.
But I do believe this is probably one of the prettiest gumbos I've seen in a while. I tasted it a minute ago. Oh,
I'm
so
excited.
Mrs. Farmer, it's all you.
I'm excited. So like a sausage?
Yeah. All right, tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Wow.
people say, does she like everything
Wow.
he cooks? First of all, we're very adventurous when it comes to eating. There's hardly anything that we don't like. And is there anything that she makes that I don't like? Very rarely. And that's something?
That's really good.
The roux, now I'll tell you the secret of this. The roux, I didn't make a real dark roux, but the roux along with the chilies in there, that's what makes this particular dish. It's just absolutely wonderful. And a little bit of the meat juices. Oh,
That is so good.
It's wonderful.
You need to make this more often.
So, let's skip from here to here. Now, we talk about, let's think about this as an oven.
Right.
So what do you have to do when we're setting out here and we're getting ready to cook a dessert? What do you have to do?
You preheated my oven.
You gotta preheat your oven. Now, this is a 10-inch, and we're gonna put a pie in there.
Right.
13 on the top, 6 on the bottom gives
Okay.
us our 325. And it's uncanny how close it is to that. Now, there may be a couple degrees temperature difference, but it is just very close to that every time. So let's eat the fire out of that, and then we'll come back and have some dessert.
Yay.
Dig it? All right, you made this last week. Now,
I did.
we're careful not to do too many sweets.
When we have company, you got to have dessert.
We don't
That's
have any
right.
company tonight.
I know, but,
So you know what that means? I'm gonna eat this whole thing.
or we could give it to Kelly to take on.
Well, one thing, every now and then you gotta spoil yourself
Yes,
a
you
little
do.
bit.
Yes, you do.
But tonight, We're gonna spoil ourselves. And we're backing off the sugar,
That's right.
except for every now and then.
Yeah, tonight's the night we have to have a little.
We're spoiling ourselves. This goes quick.
Yes.
Now again, if you want to take this, you can take these ingredients, you can put those in a plastic bag, seal it
Yeah.
up, take it with you, take your dish with you, and boom, you're ready to go.
You're good.
This looks pretty cut and dry, and I think this is a basic pecan pie recipe. This is the way she fixed
This
it.
is my Grandma Solomon fixed it this way, and it's easy. And what I've done so far, and I melted my butter. I have a third of a cup of butter in here right now, and I also put a little bit of vanilla.
Yep.
I shook that in there. So, and this is simple. I have 2/3 of sugar. Pretty simple. We'll just mix it. And this is something you just do out here like this. And I'm going to add 3 eggs.
All right. Every now and then a pecan pie is just got to happen.
You got to have it.
And you know what? Now, last time you fixed it, I noticed it had a salty flavor. And for those nuts to have that sweet and that salt, oh my goodness.
Yes. Now I have a cup of syrup, and I like to use the clear. You could use some people.
You didn't see this.
No, this is nothing. This is just. You can use dark, but I like to use clear. Either one. Some people have their ways; they like to do it. But now I have salt, and
Okay.
I think her recipe called for half a teaspoon. But you know what? I like to put about a teaspoon, and I like to measure it in my hand. It's about a half. I think you liked it a little saltier. I
Oh,
like.
it's good. Good. Delicious.
So this is probably about a teaspoon.
This is really a simple recipe.
Yeah, there's nothing
but
to it.
so delicious. And by the way, our pan over there is preheated
Thank you.
and ready to roll.
I just need 1 hour, and when I pull it out, usually I like to let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then it'll be ready. Now I have a couple pecans,
Okay.
kind of fold it in my pecans, and that's it.
So 325 in an hour.
Yeah, in an hour. And I bought pie shells.
You cheated.
Today. I cheated because this way we can drop this in and just pull it out and have a pie.
All right, let's talk about this. And there's a reason we did this with a cold pan. That's a 9-inch pie pan. And it's a 10-inch Dutch oven. That'll go in there just fine.
Right.
But there's more than one way you could do this. But make for sure that you put your pie pan in there and then dump your ingredients
stuff
in
in,
there.
right.
If you've got the hot one, obviously. But that's what it looks like. That's what a 9-inch pie dish looks like in a 10-inch Dutch oven. Beautiful, right?
It's beautiful.
Now, we've already got this one going over here, so let's set this aside. 1 hour, we're gonna check that. It's a beautiful thing. Let me go over something here real quick when it comes to bacon. There's a lot of confusion out there about cured, uncured, so on and so forth. I'm gonna go over this more in the segment. But think about your bacon. It's just a piece of meat,
Right.
like a roast or a steak. Bacon is just a cut of the belly. Can you take an animal, say it's an old-time hog killing, can you take that animal, cut that meat out right now, take it and cook it? Yes, you can. That's green meat. So what does that mean? Cook it, get it up to temperature, get it above 160, 170. If you're cooking bacon, it won't have much taste to it because there's no salt,
Right.
there's no pepper, there's no sweet if you want sweet, there's no smoke flavor, but it's green at that point. People get so confused about when you're making bacon, you have to put all these chemicals in it. There's an asterisk here. These old timers, when they would cure a ham, they would hang it up in the barn, and they would cut off of that for 7 years. They would cut the beetles out of it. I
Right.
heard that, there'd be all kinds of holes in it. That's not what we're talking about here. So again, a lot of confusion. Oh, you can't make bacon without the pink salt. We're not worried about storing it for 2,000 years. We're gonna eat this within a week or two at the most.
One day for you.
Yeah, it goes back into the refrigerator. We use it, then we make the next batch. We're gonna smoke this too. Pay very special attention to what we're doing here. This is for immediate consumption. It's not to hang up in the rafters
right.
for a year and a half, and you're gonna have the best bacon in the world, no chemicals. You think about bacon in the way we know it today. If you buy it in the store, you look at it and there's so many different avenues.
Right.
We're gonna give you today a recipe to make your own bacon in your own kitchen in 3 days. We'll call it the 3-day cure or whatever.
It's way better.
But then if you think about the curing process itself, let me ask you a simple question. Do you plan on us living in a cave anytime soon where we don't have access to a refrigerator or anything like that for like, I don't know, 6, 8 years?
Yeah, that'd be fun. No, actually,
Wrong
no.
answer.
No.
No plans on living in a cave?
No plan for a cave.
Bacon as we know it today, old habits die hard. You think about the old days. I love the old ways and I love the old days, and you watch the Bill Dixon segment. When I was a kid, everybody was putting up their bacon. Things were different.
Right.
These people had been through hard times, had been through the Depression, didn't have refrigerators, didn't have the simplest of things. Not too long ago, people in our lifetime did not have electricity. So how did they store things? How did they preserve things?
Right.
How did they prevent botulism?
Right.
I don't want to eat something and die. It sounds rather unpleasant.
Yes, it does.
So you think about the hog killing process. We've been all through that. They would fatten their pig up and get it as big as they possibly could. Why?
More meat.
More meat at all costs. That's
right.
where we're going. So they had to cure their meat
Right.
to store it for long periods of time, because a lot of these people had a lot of kids. And when you killed that big hog or 2 hogs or whatever, that was your meat for the winter. That was the way when they killed an elk way back then, or a bear, they cured a ham.
Interesting.
These habits die hard. So when you go to the store, you see years and years of research. First of all, the smoke and the salt, what do? They preserve. They dry, they shrink. The smoke actually is antimicrobial. What it does is it kills any kind of pathogen in there, any kind of microbe that can make you sick.
Okay.
But they found that out accidentally. In the old days, you see on the West Coast, the Indians used to take the smoked fish. They put them over the fire. They let them dry.
Right.
While they let them dry to get the moisture out of them, because that's where the bacteria stays.
Yeah.
They want to get as much moisture out as possible, and they want that salt to sink in and the smoke. And that was the initial cure. They figured that over time. And when that smoke comes up and imparts that antimicrobial resistance shield on that, it tastes good.
Yes, it does.
So they figured out that they'd smoke fish, they could keep it for long periods of time and use it over time. That was passed down and passed down and passed down. Now, what happened in the not too distant past? They started using potassium nitrate, saltpeter. You heard of saltpeter? Carter Caves, there's saltpeter cave. They used to mine saltpeter out of that to use for TNT.
Really?
They would use it to blow things up. They would use it for rudimentary gunpowder. So here you are having something that they put in there,
Right.
potassium nitrate, that stops the growth of microbes so you don't get botulism. And the later progression of that, the potassium nitrate, are the pink salts that we have today. Now when they cure that today, it keeps it on the shelf a lot longer, and that's what they use when you heard old Bill Dixon talk about pink salt.
Right.
That's the latest iteration of that. Now, here's my journey with bacon. You know as well as I do, if we just went to the store and bought regular bacon off the shelf, we grabbed a pack of bacon, and it had those nitrites in it, and I ate it, it made me sick.
Me too.
Gave me indigestion. I don't know the reason for that. Then I started seeing cured versus uncured.
Right.
What does it mean? What does uncured bacon mean? Is that without nitrates? They use something in there to cure that. A lot of times it's celery seed, which has those same qualities, and it actually, over time, as it leaches into that, it becomes a nitrate, or those properties do the same thing. So if it is uncured, it still has technically nitrates in it. I have bought that and tried that, and it's not as bad on my system. There's something in the pink salt that bothers me.
Yeah.
Therefore, my journey to the bacon that we have today, you can go out and you can buy pork belly. What is bacon? What part of the pig is it from?
Right. The belly.
The belly. This is what you recognize right here as bacon. That strip right there. Does that look bacony to you?
It looks bacony.
Now, you want your bacon to have taste. This green bacon right here, that's green. What does that mean? It has just been processed. It's that piece of the belly right there that we consider bacon. In Europe, different parts are used. In Canada, sometimes you use loin. In the United States, this is considered bacon, the belly. Yum.
Yeah.
And here's the way we cured this. Equal parts kosher salt, brown sugar, real maple syrup, which, as you know, when we did it, there's only one ingredient in that. That is sap from a maple tree that you reduce down. Equal parts. We're going to do about 1/3 of a cup of each for a 5-pound slab. Cherry pepper.
Your favorite?
And cayenne. So we got black pepper, and Bill Dixon called it red pepper.
You call it red pepper?
Call it red pepper. Okay. Now, as this sits for 3 days, a 3-day cure, each day you take it, it's already got its little juice going, you turn it over each day. Take it out, set it here, put it in the smoker for a couple hours. Now, I'm gonna actually put some heat on this. This will cause that to shrink.
Okay.
It's gonna make it easier to cut. It's gonna get a little patina.
Yeah.
A little darker patina on it. And again, you could bring that internal temperature up to 120 degrees while it's in the smoker. I'm gonna put it on about 250. Now, boom, in the smoker, how many hours you want. It's edible like this. How much smoke do you want on it? I like quite a bit.
Okay.
So a couple hours. I don't want to get that internal temperature up. I don't want to cook it per se.
Right.
I don't want to get it over 120, 130 degrees. When we cook it, we will attain that, well over that 160 degree for pork. Actually 150 now. But we're going to attain that temperature through the actual frying process. All right, let's put it in the smoker. What do you smell now, Mrs. Farmer?
Amazing yumminess. Bacon. That smells so good.
Got our smoke smell now. Now, you can tell that's kind of leaning up towards me. I'm going to cut this off square, and we'll have a big old hunk we can use for beans and bacon or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off to get it square so we can get some bacon. Now, you see what that looks like in there? Yeah. What does that look like, Mrs. Farmer? Looks like
bacon.
Bacon. Look at that right there. Oh,
wow.
Soup beans. Now, I just sharpened my knife, and I got a big long knife so I can make one cut all the way through. To me,
yum. To make you happy?
That is bacon. That right there.
I can't wait to try it.
I just can't tell you what it smells like in here.
Ooh, yum.
That smells country right there. That smells country. That is a big old piece of bacon right there. I can make a meal out of that.
That looks delicious.
Just that.
I know you could.
You want to try it, Mrs. Farmer?
Are you going to share?
Yeah.
You are?
Still a little hot.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Are you kidding me?
White, the fatty part, that's good.
This is ridiculous. We got the smoke, we got the salt, we got the sugar. We don't have the
It's
chemicals.
like eating candy. Yeah.
Fantastic. I can't stress this enough. Go to your butcher shop, ask for, I think it was, that ended up being about $7 a pound.
Okay.
What does good bacon cost
Right.
you? Really good bacon?
Oh, yeah.
$8 a
Yeah.
pound? Oh my.
Really good. Yum.
Wow. So there's our beautiful bacon.
It's wonderful.
And think about this. All this was done 3 days in the refrigerator.
Right.
Sometimes you'll leave a roast setting in the refrigerator before you cook it 3 days. By the time you buy it in the store, if you buy it in the store, sometimes it's been sitting there for a week.
Right.
Immediate consumption, not hanging on the rack for
That's your
26
excuse?
years.
For eating all of it? That's your excuse? It's gone.
You gotta eat it. It's delicious. Speaking of delicious, do you want to reveal your beautiful pie?
Yeah, we should probably have a taste too.
How do you say P-I-E?
Pie.
No,
It's
really.
pie.
How do you say it?
I say pie. Two
Pie.
syllables.
I say pie.
2 syllables.
North, south.
All right.
Can I try?
I'm ready for you to try it. Now, I did cut it a little early, but it's actually, usually I let it go, but the sun's going down. So
Yeah,
we got to try it
lose
now.
light.
Hey, now, that's a pretty big piece.
Well, I got a pretty big
Wow.
mouth.
See what you think. This is Grandma's old recipe. Pretty basic. Just pure sugar and pecans, isn't it? What do you think? You can't go wrong, can you?
That's unreal. So, we've got 160 bazillion recipes out
That's
there.
a
Where would you find
lot.
them, Mrs. Farmer?
TimFarmersCountryKitchen.com.
I go there all the time because I forget to measure sometimes.
I do too.
Also, we want you to be our Facebook friend. Why is that important? Because we like to talk to folks on there. People ask us questions, you know, they private messages, where did you get that, where did you
Right.
get that? And we try to answer those as much as we can. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes we're out of town for 2 or 3 days, but we still want you to be our Facebook friend, even though it's almost impossible.
It's hard.
What are the steps that you have to go through to be our Facebook friend?
It's really difficult. You hit like.
That's it?
Like. Yes, it's hard.
Hit like. We'll see you on Facebook. And we'll see you next week. Who knows? The sun could be out, Mrs.
Wouldn't that be
Farmer.
nice?
It's all about
Good times
good friends.
and good eats.
We'll see you next week.
I'm going to finish this dessert.
No, I'm going to finish it.
Oh.
To order a cookbook, please call 502-319-0487 or email timfarmerck@gmail.com.